Why does spending $2 on a digital application feel like an absolute intellectual victory instead of a genuine loss to your financial future? When you accumulate miniature purchases late at night, your brain convinces you that you are maximizing your consumer surplus with absolute efficiency. You tell yourself that a few isolated single-digit payments cannot possibly disrupt your broader, long-term asset accumulation goals or monthly budgets. Yet, at the end of every single month, your disposable income completely vanishes through a quiet, invisible sequence of unnoticeable microtransactions. This comfortable illusion of saving capital is actually a highly sophisticated psychological misdirection engineered by advanced digital retail optimization algorithms. Right now, a hidden behavioral vulnerability inside your mind is forcing you to process these modern micro-pricing habits as entirely free. Over the next few minutes, we will expose the exact systemic mechanism that transforms minor digital clicks into a structural wealth drag. Understanding this invisible friction deficit is the single most critical adjustment you must make to protect your future wealth-building fund. To understand why your capital is leaking, we must measure a metric known as the friction deficit index. Human neurobiology processes a tiny $2 transaction fundamentally differently than a major $100 purchase due to a profound dopamine leak mechanism. Because the immediate psychological pain of paying is lowered to near zero levels, the brain focuses entirely on the chemical reward of acquisition. Ultra-low-cost platforms operate as highly efficient digital retail optimization machines, specifically engineered to eliminate every single point of transactional friction. When transactions require zero physical effort, 20 isolated $5 micro-purchases easily bypass the executive function of your prefrontal cortex. This behavior acts exactly like a slow, unnoticeable leak inside an encrypted asset ledger, draining wealth without triggering any psychological alarm. Conversely, a single, concentrated $100 purchase forces your brain to experience instant cognitive restraint, halting the impulsive spending sequence entirely. By breaking down large profit margins into fragmented micro-pricing modules, the platform completely paralyzes your natural consumer spending defenses. E-commerce customer acquisition cost models are optimized to exploit this exact vulnerability, turning transient behavioral spending habits into permanent company revenue. They do not need you to purchase an expensive luxury asset when they can secure continuous microtransaction retention velocity instead. This manipulative marketing loop feeds on a consumer surplus misconception, making you feel wealthy while structurally undermining your real capital. Your hard-earned capital is quietly redirected away from compounding investments and transformed into a highly fragmented collection of depreciating material goods. High-level financial intelligence isn't about avoiding major investments. It's about protecting your cognitive framework from these subtle, engineered wealth drains. Upgrade your financial processing system by subscribing to Economecha right now and insulate your hard-earned assets from advanced behavioral manipulation. Once your subscription is locked in, we can analyze how deep this flawed system penetrates into everyday consumer behavior. To fully comprehend the long-term mathematical destruction of this friction deficit, let us examine two distinct consumer profiles over a decade. The stark divergence between an unnoticeable micro-spending habit and structured asset discipline will completely redefine how you view a single dollar. Let us compare the 10-year financial trajectory of two distinct individuals to visualize the true cost of these unnoticeable behavioral leaks. Consumer A maintains a consistent routine, redirecting $150 every month into ultra-low-cost retail apps to acquire small, depreciating items. Over a single decade, this habit results in 600 pieces of low-quality clutter, leaving the consumer with zero long-term financial equity or transferable wealth. This microtransaction enthusiast completely fails to recognize that their capital has essentially evaporated into these transient, unrecoverable material goods. Consumer B chooses a different path, choosing to block the behavioral leak and automating that same $150 monthly sum into a diversified index fund. By simply enforcing a discipline barrier, they allow the market to work, achieving a compound 8% return annually on their consistent contributions. At the end of that decade, Consumer B holds a significant, verified financial balance, while Consumer A holds only a mountain of depreciating clutter. The asymmetry here is not about income levels, but about the specific decision to stop the micro-spending leak before it starts. Data confirms that blocking these impulsive microtransaction cycles creates a massive, measurable disparity in your future purchasing power and overall financial trajectory. Wealth accumulation requires you to treat your capital with the same structural care that you apply to your most critical corporate projects. You must implement an absolute structural friction barrier by activating a fixed-interval digital quarantine strategy for all non-essential retail interactions. Your first step is to immediately remove all saved credit cards from your retail applications, eliminating the frictionless convenience that platforms crave. Enforce a mandatory 72-hour holding period for any online item under $10, which allows your prefrontal cortex to regain command over your impulsive desires. This 72-hour cooling period effectively neutralizes the chemical reward loop that platforms rely on to trigger your subconscious spending reflexes. Open your smartphone tomorrow morning, navigate directly to your most frequented digital retail applications, and initiate your first official quarantine cycle. Delete every single one of your stored payment methods, forcing yourself to manually enter data for every transaction, effectively restoring your cognitive defense. You will instantly regain command over your financial trajectory by transforming your retail interface into a genuine space for conscious, deliberate decision-making. The shift from a passive, frictionless consumer to an active, disciplined allocator is the single most important adjustment you can make this year. You have effectively disabled the behavioral vulnerability that was quietly draining thousands of dollars from your potential compound growth every single year. Continue this high-level financial intelligence journey by subscribing right now and keep your cognitive framework insulated from all forms of advanced manipulation. Every day you maintain this discipline, you are not just saving a few dollars, but actively building a robust, resilient system for your wealth. Remember these steps. Identify your retail friction. Remove saved payment methods. And strictly enforce your 72-hour holding period for every purchase. You are officially outside of the manipulative marketing loop and operating within your own verified, highly optimized financial command system. Master your psychology today, and your assets will work for you for the rest of your life. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep elevating your financial processing speed with every single decision you make from this moment forward.